DeAndre Hopkins, media wars, conflicting reports, rumblings. It feels like draft time again. We got on-field activities. Off-field, though, is where the real action is at. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.
All right, so we got the media wars. DeAndre Hopkins returned to the Houston Texans. It started out as internet chatter. DeAndre Hopkins, I would assume here, someone close to him, reaching out to folks and saying, "Hey, I would like to come back to Houston." Now, it conflicts and contradicts everything he said before, so maybe he's trying to set the market. I do feel bad for Nuke because this is not the right time to be on the market. And quite frankly, I think the league's kind of speaking to him, and they might have anyways, no matter when he would have been on the market. But this is not great for DeAndre Hopkins. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I am Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. Appreciate everyone for coming through. We're doing this a little bit earlier. I'm actually going to go to the movies, check out a new Robert De Niro movie. Looks corny, but it looks very wife-friendly. Robert De Niro is actually an underrated comedic actor. Dirty Grandpa, I think, is one of the funniest movies that I can remember. I remember talking to Ted Johnson back when he worked at the station about that. He's now back up in New England. And Ted, if you get Ted started talking about Dirty Grandpa, I'm sure that there was some Marihucci involved when he watched it. But my man will go deep into that. He thinks it's his best movie ever. So I will get into I'll get into if I think Nuke Hopkins is coming, but let's just go into what is being said by the media types. Because I think this is interesting. It feels kind of draft-like. What's being said by the media types, we'll get into the latest on DeAndre Hopkins and get the comments coming in, and we will talk about everything else going on. Seeing some comments. Some of you guys are funny. So this whole thing started out with this whole thing started out with the word on the streets that DeAndre Hopkins was potentially interested in coming back to the Texans. And look, let's just be serious. DeAndre Hopkins is telling people that he's interested in going back to the Texans. He loves the love in Houston, and he did what he wanted to do. He created some buzz. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but he wanted it to get out there. And his agents wanted it to get out there too. Like, we're going to play follow the source. That's what me and Lopez like to do. Maybe too much sometimes, but that's just kind of how we do things. So I don't know that if DeAndre Hopkins wants to come back to Houston, it might have as much to do with the rest of the league not thinking much of DeAndre Hopkins. And we'll hear a quote from an exec that might kind of put that in perspective. But there's no doubt that he's saying he does. The question is, why is he saying that? Like, why would you put that out there? Why is DeAndre Hopkins saying that? Who knows? But then the reporters started gathering information, and DeAndre Hopkins on Tuesday officially became available to sign. And I saw some reports. I love my boy Crumpy that, they met last week or whatever. Look, I like John Crumpler as a football mind. I like John Crumpler as a future doctor. I think John Crumpler can talk Texans and follow the Texans and localize the Texans better than anyone. I don't consider him a reporter. So, and that's my boy. I don't put a lot of stock in that. And I don't even know if that would be legal given the fact that he didn't get released until Tuesday. So I don't know who said that, whatever. He tweeted it. people have asked me about that. I don't. Crumpler does his thing. Love Crumpler. Continue to have Crumpler on the show. I don't know how that would even work out. So I'll just leave that at that. But let's go through what the media types are saying, and subscribe, like, right along, download the Odyssey app. It's a fun time to follow this squad. So let's go through everything that Diana Rossini of ESPN says. She says the Patriots, they are interested. So Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, the Patriots are interested in DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, that would be interesting. I know Bill Belichick has always spoken very highly of Nuke. There was an NFL Films mic'd up where Nuke and he were talking. Bill O'Brien is the offensive coordinator. Maybe bygones could be bygones. I will say those guys went to battle. And I know you always heard about, and we always talked about on the air, how much distaste they had for each other and how, tense stuff could get at times. But I think the one thing Bill O'Brien could respect is that DeAndre Hopkins was ready to play and DeAndre Hopkins was ready to ball. And quite frankly, it would be in Bill O'Brien's best interest to just shut the hell up and do what Belichick tells him to do, because you thinking you could run an organization and be a hot shot. The king, what is it? Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. He was the biggest hog there was. And King Bill, he got completely humbled. So if Bill Belichick wants DeAndre Hopkins, he'll go there. Also, he already kind of knows the offensive system. So it would be easy for him, especially given the fact that a lot of people think he doesn't want to practice. So maybe that would be ideal. And New England's not very good at wide receivers. So Patriots are interested per Diana Rossini. Bill O'Brien he's not making any personnel moves ever. Again, he's damn sure not going to prevent them from getting someone who Bill Belichick admires. So there's that. Rossini also says that the Bills aren't all in on this. So in other words, the Buffalo Bills, they've dipped their toe into the water, but they already got Stephon Diggs, who's one of the 5-10 best wide receivers in football. They got Zay over there making the big plays, and they just added Dalton Kincaid as well. And they've added some weaponry in their backfield. So the Bills aren't all in on this. Per Diana Rossini, she says the Jets are not interested. Aaron Rodgers was interested in Odell Beckham Jr. Apparently, DeAndre Hopkins is not going to be some sort of fallback plan, at least as of right now. She said the Cowboys not an option at the moment. And then she dropped a real interesting nug on Get Up on ESPN. And I like Rossini. She does a really good job. She said an exec said if he wants to make $2 million, then okay. Now, there's a lot of ways you can look at that. Like you could say, well, the exec probably doesn't have a lot of salary cap space, and he probably just said that like, okay, it could be Mike Vrabel. She's really close to the Tennessee Titans. Or it could be an exec basically saying he's not as good as he thinks he is, and he's not going to get the contract that he probably thinks that with his healthy ego he's going to get. So there's two ways you can look at that. She's not one of those media types that's going to make up like fake, a GM or an exec said. So take with that what you will. So that's Rossini's report. New England interested, Buffalo not all in on this. Cleveland kind of mess. She also threw that in there. And Jets and Cowboys, no thanks. And exec throughout that $2 million question. Brooks Cabina says, and this is our guy, Brooks Cabina, my buddy, Houston Chronicle. He says Hopkins is interested in coming to Houston. I don't know where he got it, but that's where Cabina got it. Cabina is one of the most respected journalists in town, award-winning, by the way. He won't tell y'all that, but he did win some nice awards. Actually broke the D'Amico Ryan story. I know a lot of people piggybacked and confirmed and rap and all that, but he was the first one to get it. He worked his ass off, and it got in the right local hands. He says Hopkins is interested. Again, someone tells you that DeAndre Hopkins is interested, even if it's him, if it's his agent, got to run with it. But The question is, do they really mean that or not? That's not for a reporter like Brooks to decide. That's for like a jackass radio media type like myself to decide. The newsbreakers, they just follow their journalistic ethics. Sometimes you gotta balance it. You gotta firm source, but if it's a firm source is something that a guy like Brooks Cabina is going to put out there. Jerome Solomon of the Houston Chronicle, he's gotten in the mix too. What does Jerome Solomon say? Jerome Solomon piggybacked off of Brooks. He said, quote, "A return to Houston is a real possibility." He also had the take that I like, that I said yesterday with Texans Cap, in that whether DeAndre Hopkins wants to be here or not, just the fact that he's publicly willing to let that get out there tells you how far the Houston Texans have come. Because I can assure you that would not have happened the last 2 years. So I respect Jerome Solomon's take there. I respect all of Jerome Solomon's takes and his shirts. But I respect that take, especially because it lines up with something that I said. So shout out to Jerome Solomon. So he says real possibility. This is where we get the conflicting reports. And this is where I do my hand rub and I get out my popcorn. Which, by the way, movie popcorn, one of my favorite things. Can't wait to go eat some of that at this De Niro movie. Aaron Wilson says, "Hey, Dub, Aaron Wilson, always on the scene." Aaron Wilson says the Texans return not likely. So Jerome says big possibility. Aaron Wilson says Texans return not likely. And he also says the return to the Browns is a real possibility. So Aaron Wilson's going in on that too. KPRC2's Aaron Wilson. You have Jerome Williams saying possible. You have Aaron Wilson saying not. You have the internet street saying DeAndre Hopkins interested. You have Brooks Cabina saying that. You have Diana Rossini saying the Patriots are interested and all this other stuff. Where the hell did the Chiefs factor in? Is the money going to be low enough to where DeAndre Hopkins just goes with the best squad? Who the hell knows? Someone asks what Rap says. He really hasn't said a lot. Rap is very good. And Rap, I like where you're thinking, my man, because Rap has been the most accurate about the Texans. He has earned a lot of credibility when it comes to the Texans. He was in on D'Amico from the beginning. He was in on the quarterback from the beginning. Rap has earned a lot of credibility. Although I did not think they were taking a quarterback, and I wasn't just pulling that out of nowhere. I think that kind of developed over time, and I think Rap, he knows what he's doing. So he handled his business very well. Ian Rappaport is really not saying a lot, and sometimes that's the best way to go, and that's why he's one of the best in the game. So there we go. We got conflicting reports from Jerome Solomon and Aaron Wilson, two former co-workers. We got Diana Rossini on the scene. We got the internet streets wanting DeAndre Hopkins here. Who knows how it's going to go? But it is fun. It kind of feels draft-ish. So we'll see how that goes. Imagine if Mark Berman breaks the Texans have signed DeAndre Hopkins on the last day. That would be awesome. Hopefully he gets appropriately credited, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, that'll be fun. Let's go to the comments before I get out of here. Go to this movie. SP asks, so Nuke coming or not, Landry? LOL. I wouldn't bet on it, but I do wonder if they adjust to the market like they did Dalton Schultz and maybe more willing. I just don't know, like, if Nuke is willing to come here, is it if they offer the most money, or if all things are equal, would he be willing to come here? He said in the past that this is not necessarily what he's looking for. So I wouldn't bet on it, but who knows? It's a fluid process. I'm sure that they're having some sort of discussions about it. Tyler Olson is probably hoping for too much, but I hope the general received incorrect information about the Texans' interest in Hop. Doubt it is, though. McClain knows what he's talking about. I know he's been wrong at times, and sometimes things get fluid, but McClain does not seem like it's a possibility at all. I would believe McClain. I know a lot of times, here's the thing about McClain, and I kick McClain in the balls harder than anyone. He's my guy, but there is a reason that we're the only show that has him on for an extended period, because he's my guy. That's my dude. I like to, but if McClain's full of crap, I'll tell McClain he's full of crap. We'll have a discussion, and we won't tap out on you during the segment. But McClain McClain, sometimes people listen to him on the radio and they take it as a report instead of an opinion. Like there's reports and there's opinions. So when he's on with us for 30 minutes and we're BSing and I'm putting him on the spot and saying, hey, is he going to come here? Those are opinions. Those are not reports. So sometimes people take his opinion and say he reported this. He did not. There's a reason why he's as respected as he is. Alfredo says, congrats on being in the fan council. What is the fan council like? Texans announced I'll be in the fan council. So here's what it is. And I'm not getting a single penny from the Houston Texans to do this. But as a lot of you know, I very much enjoy the game day experience. My father and I, that's where most of our best memories were ever at games, traveling to games. That's when my parents got divorced, going to a UT game on the weekend, taking me to a ball game, we WrestleMania, like all that type of crap. The game day experience means a lot to me and my father. Big time. Like it's one of our bonds. Like our best memories are game day experiences. And it's always meant a lot to me. And last year there were a lot of people not going to games. So I decided that I was going to, ask people to give me their tickets they weren't going to use. And I would give them to people who maybe wouldn't normally get to go. And we actually gave away a few hundred tickets because of that. And I think the Texans game day experience, and I've said this on the air, I think in certain ways it's great. And in certain ways, it's been ass. And I think, with some new faces and stuff, and the understanding that they're trying to progress, they're trying to improve that. They're trying to capitalize on that, and they're trying to grow and evolve while highlighting the stuff that made the good when going there. You might notice they don't say the last name anymore on introductions. We threw that out there. You're not hearing football time in Houston as much. Threw that out there. So basically what the fan council is there's like a lot of fans from all over the place. And they've done a good job of taking people all the way up to San Antonio. From like every neighborhood here, there's fans. And I'm just basically watching and observing and seeing what fans are saying. Because, and we got to meet a lot of listeners. Like I'm not on some sort of council and I'm not deciding anything. I'm not getting like any opinion. I just like to see what the consumer, what the audience thinks. And I like to see some of their ideas and where they're at. So they go up there. Larry and Stafford's up there. He actually had a really good, it wasn't like a rant. It was really good, like balancing the old school with the new school and talking about not alienating and all that. And you just watch and you see what they're trying to do. And it's like product knowledge. It's like a case study on who your consumer is and what they like to do. But it's not like I'm not sitting there telling Toro to jump off a effing balcony or something like that. You just sit there, you watch the council. A lot of people talk. Some people talk more than others. And that's where it is, man. It's pretty cool. It's very, very, very cool that they're actually doing that. And it's cool to at least to be able to observe, because the game day experience means a hell of a lot to me. That's why we're out there judging tailgates before. That's why we're out there. I'm out there till hour after the game in the locker room, the real locker room. And then I come in this locker room, we do some post game. So it's exciting. It'll be fun. And I think they're going to improve some things. Appreciate everyone for coming through. I am going to go to the movies, but I already got my popcorn because I am enjoying the hell out of this DeAndre Hopkins dialogue. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. Subscribe, like, right along. When it comes to this Texans game, no matter what happens, I appreciate you all. We are all in this together. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. Might have some special content tomorrow. I'm going to be at a table with Dameon Pierce, Boots for Troops. So I'm going to talk to his country ass. I'm going to try to get something loose. Nothing too serious. See what I can do with Dameon Pierce once the tequila starts flowing. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room.